Hello, Mick Poultney, known as the Compost King. I did get that title. Through trial and error, whatever I do, this is about composting obviously, but I've been trialling for over 30 odd years, and I'm still trialling now. I want to get the best out of what I do. And to get it in writing, to get it improved, a couple of years ago, Laverstoke Park Laboratories, this is down Hampshire, I sent my sample away, and they tested it, and this is obviously the results. Bacterial activity excellent, fungal activity excellent, fungal biomass exceptional. Basically this compost is excellent, because what I asked them to do, once I'd done the test on my compost sample, I sent them a DVD of me composting. I was in a society that there was that impressed with me methods. They did a DVD on it. I sent it to these. They watched it so they could see what ingredients I was putting in. I says, all I want to know, once you've done the trial on it, is to tell me what I've either got to take in or take out. And this says nothing to take in, nothing to take out. So I'm using all natural products and I'm going to break down. Then last year I bought my first book out. The lads taught me into doing this. It's on Amazon, but if you put compost ready to use within a month, then it'll come up with a Compost King. Then you know you got the right book. But how many? 84 pages. Colour photos. That's a proof of the pudding that it works. On the last page, this book contains no needlessly big words, no waffle, no confusing Latin names, no bullshit. Although I would have liked to have tried the bullshit. I wanted it on the back page, but I wouldn't put it on. I had to go through Amazon. I couldn't afford to get it published myself. They take the cut, but I ain't bothered. But if you want good compost, ready to use within a month, well, I'm trialling now after 3 weeks, and that's working as well. Get on Amazon and get the book. It's got everything in there what I do. I'll just show you in the bin now. Because I use clover compost, which is from our I flog that at our trading sheds. It's a good compost, and that's supposed to be going out next year. They're getting alternatives in, and the alternative to peat, well, there's some rubbish coming out. So make your own compost. I'm using my compost as a growing medium, 100%. The plants tell me when I'm growing. If they got nice white thick roots, that tells me it's working, which I know it is. So you should all be composting if you have gardens anyway. Right, I've got one compost bin, black Dalek. It's got white plastic around because of the heat we're getting now. I don't want my worms to cook. I want them to work 12 months of the year. So I'm looking after them by covering them in plastic. Before I lift the lid off and show you, I'll just take my door off and show you at the bottom. I'll just get a few of them out. Full of worms. So if I'm picking that up and I want to use it as a growing medium, I'm going to take all the worms out, put them back in the bin. And there's still some lumps in here, meaning when you do water, comparing my compost to clover compost, because I've got lumps in, that they will hang on to moisture, warmth and oxygen more so than the clover. Right, let's have a curve inside. When I was down the plot, I had 6 bins, 2 for leaf molds, 4 for compost. Now I've just got 1 compost bin and it's working. I can use it as a growing medium for everything in there. I've got 3 peppers in there, 2 chilli and 1 sweet pepper, and they're growing in my compost. Right, take the lid off. I've now went to look, there's 2 carpet lids in here as well. You've got to keep these moist for this to work, meaning I'll take the first lid off, and because you've got moisture between the 2 carpets, ideal breeding ground for worms. That's me extra worms. Whatever manure you put in, there's where you're going to get your worm content from. Well, I wanted me compost working quick, so that's how I had extra worms. And originally I went to a fish shack or something, bunged them in. So now, taking the second layer off, and there's me lads working away underneath. Beautiful stuff. So don't forget, I'm adding to this every couple of days. I'm just going down there. Just keep it well, you know it's moist because the worms are on top and them working away. That is their food. Don't let them get cold, don't get them let too hot. Look after them, keep them moist. And they will feed and multiply rapidly, which is what you want. Just look after them. So them worms now, if I'm just going to add some, I'd have folded that carpet up and then shake the worms back on top of there until next time. And if them carpets get a bit dry, then I'll water them. Make sure I've got that nice moist for them. And then bung my lid back on. Because of the warmth, we've got the good weather back on. That is not pushed on solid. It is just resting on top. You're going to have air going in on the sides. You can't completely seal this. But not putting that on as well. You don't turn your compost heap. That's why worms are invented, let them do it. If you use hot compost, you've got to turn it because it's only the middle that's cooking. But hot composting, you get no worms in it. Whatever says you do, then it's not hot composting. So that's it basically. Just trial it. If you are making compost, get the stuff out, and if you're potting something on, get a sealing and pot it on that road. Just trial it and you'll be surprised. It's going to work. But everything's in my book. I'm on YouTube and all. I get talks all over the UK on composting, raised beds, no decultivation, year on the plot. Well, there's several different talks. Just get on YouTube, put Mick Poultney in, and something will crop up. But just enjoy it. What do I use my compost for basically? Well, I'm all raised beds, so down there, once I've top dressed, I top dress at the end of the season with my compost. Don't forget it's full of worms. I then water it. I put a weed suppressant or straw on top, and then the worms will break down and look after what I'm doing. So all my raised beds are top dressed end of the season with my compost, and they will do my digging. I put straw on the top because the one disadvantage with raised beds, exactly the same as this one. This was a new raised bed this year. One disadvantage is they dry out quicker. Exactly the same. You've got something in a pot, they dry out quicker. If you put straw on the top, that's what I'm doing with all these, as you can see. It stops the plants drying out. On the borders, I use wood chip because it looks a bit better. That keeps the moisture in, exactly the same as the raised beds. Stops them drying out. But if you compost, I mean, I'm adding every, because you're deadheading, you're going to get loads surplus of green, and your browns, which is ripped up egg boxes, loo rolls, just rip them up. The smaller the ingredient going into the bin, the quicker the breakdown. But everything's in my book. I think I'm 12 quid at the moment. But enjoy. Good composting. Cheers, people.